What is going on, everybody? This is Brandon, Muscle Rod Shop. So this is a dash that came out of the demo CUDA that we're doing right now, and we're going to change it up a little bit. So these are NVU gauges. They were sponsored for the car, and we're going to go ahead and make a new gauge cluster for the CUDA. We are very happy to have them on board with this build. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 gauges, and we're going to set them up in a way, maybe 2 in the center and 3 on each side. So we're going to see how that works. We're going to mock it up first on a. So for those of you who are not familiar with the cars that we build here in this channel, first of all, welcome to the channel if this is your first time, if I even have anybody left on this channel watching it. I haven't been on for about 3 weeks, and I apologize for that, but explanation at the end of the video. So for those of you who don't know about the car we're doing the dash for right now, this is it. Big ass tires. It is a 4x4 factory option. That giant axle in it. So that was a 1-year only thing. It's also got a Dana 60 in the front, which is a 4x4 package that they most likely offered. It comes with a 12-valve Cummins diesel that you find in the Dodge and Plymouth versions of the Mopar muscle cars. The current gauges on this car look like this. Very beautiful, but not good enough. Okay, so now that we know what we're delving into, we can get started. Oh, and if you would like to see any other gauges made for other cars, just let me know in the comments below, and we'll get right into it. So we're gonna start out by drawing a rough sketch of what we want, okay? I got the face here out of the 4x4 car. I need to reconfigure this. The first thing you need to see right here is that's where your steering wheel goes, okay? Steering column goes here, so like any other car, I want a gauge on each side of that steering column to center everything up. You can see, for example, this would be TAC or Speedo, and then a couple other gauges in here. We're gonna change that up by going this direction. Now I got TAC, Speedo, EGTs, boost, so on, temp, water, fuel, and then some switches over here on the side, which are the original ones for over here, which is headlamps, washers, panel. And then over here is our shut off and whatever other switches you want. And I figure maybe in here we'll do right and left and emergency brake. Looks like a plan. This line that you see here all the way around, that is going to be a bead roll, or maybe I'll just cut that out and then put another panel up behind it. But either way, from NVU, we have the Speedo, we have a TAC, battery, oil, fuel, water, and all the gauges that we need. There's like 6 altogether, and our boost gauge is actually a digital readout inside of this one. Really cool company. They also did the Bronco on the Off the Ranch site, which is the guy that owns that giant CUDA. So I'm gonna run you through that, and we're gonna start off by making a template of this face here so that we can lay that out and lay our gauges out and start. So I got some poster board here, some really nice stuff. It's from like I don't know, Hobby Lobby, Home Depot, maybe, I don't know, somewhere. But you can find this stuff pretty much anywhere. And all we're gonna do is take that faceplate or the original piece, but if you got a faceplate, that's even better, a bezel that goes over it all, and make a template. Simply by just laying it on here and tracing it out. However you can trace it out, because you're definitely gonna need the exact shape of the inside of this here. Okay, so this is for a CUDA. You can do it for Camaros or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Your C10s, whatever you got, just make a template of this. So we are going to be making this piece, this, and this, the whole piece, so it just slides in the dash and it's done. So in this case, the first thing I want is the faceplate. So I'm gonna set it here, trace it out, just the outside edge. Then you got this outside edge here, cut that out. And for the corners, I'm just gonna wrap it over, trace it, and you're done. Then we're gonna cut exactly this shape out. The tools you will be needing are metal shears for cutting cardboard. This is this piece here. Right there, okay? Fits good, that's the piece. I left some extra on this side so that I can overlap and tape exactly where it goes for here. This right here will be our entire gauge cluster. Now I can go and mark out to scale with the gauges exactly where they're gonna go, okay? And the other thing too is these gauges are all digital from NVU. Everything's there we need. Really cool, I like them. All right, so we've got the entire thing set up. As you guys can see, that this is where I obviously taped the two pieces together. And then what I did is also marked right here in pencil where the bends are. You wanna mark anything that's, you know, out of the ordinary or not flat or that might get in the way of a flat gauge. So that's what we do. We mark it. You can see right now, that's where it's gonna bend up. And that's gonna go inside this corner here. It's just gonna come around and roll up. We might be able to put something in here, a light or, I don't know, anything you want. Again, this is just for a challenge or a CUDA, since CUDA is what we're doing right now, but you can do it with any gauges. It doesn't really matter. We've done it for a lot of cars. So there you go. That's what's gonna roll up right there. Again, the line tells me I don't wanna go past that point. I don't wanna go past this point here. So my canvas is everything in the middle. It does taper from big to small, just like this piece does. You can see the taper on it, on that black piece on top. So, although that's really cool to have 4 big gauges, this is what we have, and these are even cooler. So the first thing we're gonna do is mark the center, and I mean exactly the center, because then we're gonna measure straight off the side to the edge of the gauge and determine our spread on the 2 gauges. You wanna start off with your 2 biggest gauges in the middle and then measure out as you go. So let's get that done. So we're gonna start out with the center, getting the center marked exactly where it goes. So this will be center here. Okay. Run it through the middle. We're gonna take our gauge. And I think we want one here and another gauge here. Looks pretty good. And notice on the original, the bottom is even. There's gaps are even on the bottom, but it's big on top and small. So that means that this is angling up, this is flat with the bottom of the dash. We want to go everything off the bottom, nothing off the top. So when we're doing stuff here, we're going to want to measure from the bottom up, not from the top down, ever. So everything will be off the bottom. So then what we can do is say we want 3/4 of an inch from the bottom is going to be our spot. Come over here. This one is 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. You can see that's at 3/4. So the best thing to do is to take 3/4 inch tape, or you can measure it out, whatever you want to do. And this is kind of the faster way of doing it, I guess. And run it right on the bottom all the way through. So you line everything, all your gauges up there, you won't have an issue. So I can take this and put it right at the bottom of that gauge, and this one right at the bottom of that gauge, and it should be sitting pretty. Now we know that's even. The gauges aren't gonna sit crooked or anything like that. All right, so I went and started playing with it a little bit, and after a while came up with this idea here. Kind of works really good. Actually, all the switches can go on the bottom here, and then all the gauges go on top. It probably looks like some car from back in the day, but I have no idea. So we're gonna do 3, and we're gonna stay on a parallel line here, all the way across the top. It's exactly the size of the gauge. So all I'm gonna do is mark the top of this gauge, and then that is as high as all the gauges go. It's gonna stay on that line, parallel between the bottom and that piece there. All right, so up next, what we're gonna do is make these little corners. I'm gonna show you. These corners right here. See that? Now, I don't know why those are there, but they're there for a reason. So we're gonna put them on this one. And that's what these notches here are for, are those corners. All right, so gotta have them there so this piece that lays down right here, which is this piece I just cut out, is gonna sit like that. Okay. It's gonna sit just like this. So that's the top half of the dash. So that's what we're gonna do next. Cut those pieces out, which I already did, which are these guys. So this one here, after it's broke, we're gonna do a 90-degree on it. That is this piece in here. You can see it fits right up in there. And then it'll break and it'll be the bottom half. So that's what we're gonna do. Break those right now and get those set up. All right, so first up is the small one. We'll put it in the break. And just for the hell of it, I'm gonna tell you. Normally, if I got a point like this, you see how the marker comes to a point, all this comes to a point, I want that part smashed down because it's gonna be the hardest one to break around. So if I were to put it in here like this, to where the point's coming down and break it, some breaks are really good and they'll actually break that. Some of them are not and they'll leave it flat right there. And then you gotta go and hammer it down. But in this case, we just turn it around and put it in the break. So we're gonna go 90, and then we're gonna check it. Looks pretty good. It's good 90-degree. Might be a little bit more, but that's okay. Well, no, hell, it might be 90. Let's see. This thing's 90. Kind of rocks on it a little bit, but I'm okay with that. Second piece, the big one. We'll put it in. Now I want to try to cover the marker all the way. We'll break it a little bit more. Yeah, there you go. It's a nice piece. And that's all we need. These Woodward Fab little breaks here, these things are awesome for small pieces like this. Well, that did take forever, but I'm gonna show you all what I have now. So this is the final product, and this is all aluminum and the factory gauge cluster. And that's what we got. So you can see the difference between the two. All these switches, this would normally be like headlight and windshield wipers and the dimmer switch or so. That stuff's gonna end up going right in this area here. All that basically goes away because we got all of our gauges in now. Now this weld that goes across here, that's not actually a weld, I just fused all that. It's really smooth actually, but it's all fused in. All in the corners it's fused. So there is no filler rod in there, it's just melted together. The weld is actually on the back side. This one has a weld on the front side. Little spot for the steering column, which the factory had. So you're now done. And I'll show you the cluster with the gauges in it in just a sec. This right here is actually the piece that goes on top of the factory one. And this is thin aluminum, so it's easy to bead roll it and not make a mess, but let's put the gauges in it. So I'll probably end up wrapping this in carbon fiber or something like that, but there you go, the demo dash. So I haven't loaded a video in like 3 weeks or so. The reason for that is because my computer went down the drain. It's a brand new computer. I just got it, you know, less than a year ago. And it kept on, I'd upload, no, I'd edit a video, and then 15 minutes into it, the thing shuts down, blue screen shuts off, whatever you want to call it. And it just over and over and over and over again, until the point I was just like, man, I'm gonna either break this thing to pieces or just go have it looked at. And I was kind of slow on it. So we're back on, and I got a lot of stuff to edit, a lot. So luckily, you know, I got good people around here, and my buddy Eli, which owns this Porsche right here, that's Eli Double Tap on Instagram. He knows computers very well. He let me borrow one of his that just happens to be laying around that's 5,000 times faster than mine. And let me borrow one to get this video up, and probably the next 5 or 6 videos that are coming up. And he is going through mine, and so Eli, I appreciate it, man. You're the best. And we are doing a Rocket Bunny kit on this Porsche for Eli. Here's the picture right here. That thing looks pretty good, like really, really, really good. So I'm excited to see it coming along. We got a whole video on that, the installation of that body kit. Oddly enough, very easy to install and, you know, get all that done. So it's gonna go off the wrap and then come back, and I'll show you the entire video. I did get another project. Went and picked up a truck. So I'm gonna be doing a video on that pretty soon. It's a 59 Apache, fleet size, short bed, great truck. Guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Muscle Rod Shop, and watching this long process of a dash being made, of a gauge cluster. So hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one.